Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I'm Keith, and this is Total Football Talk. We're going to look at all these round and break, but there's still plenty to talk about. So we're going to look at the top headlines. We're going to look at what is being said about Onana from his side, from Ruben side. We'll also look at what's being said from our legends, Peter Schmeichel on Lammens, Nicky on his take on a striker, and we'll also look at some very interesting stats that have been breaking out over the start of the season in regards to Manchester United and what gives us hope moving forward, because we're still living on hope a little bit. We are still living on a prayer, because even though we've had an interesting start to the season in terms of our style of play and chances created, we're still maybe haven't got quite accumulated the points that we maybe should have. So and obviously it's the derby this weekend. Plenty to look forward to and plenty to get stuck into. So let's dive in. But before I do, thank you very much for joining me. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the old thumbs up button. That really helps me. And please hit the subscribe button too. Massively helps me out. And if I can, get 10 likes on this, I'd be over the moon. Let's move into the stories. So Andre Onana and his move from Manchester United to Trabzonspor looks like it's going to take place. But this is what Andre Onana has been saying, according to Graham Bailey. Onana feels that he's been made a scapegoat. He still believes he's Manchester United's best keeper, but with the AFCON and the World Cup coming up ahead, he wants to get time on the pitch, so he's accepted the move to Turkey. Now, there is a clip doing the rounds. You've probably seen it on social media last night. I seen it on X. Cameroon lost to Cape Verde 1-0. There's a one-on-one with Onana, and he's just not very good at these. He stays pretty much on his line, maybe comes off his line, maybe 3 or 4 yards. Practically the striker from Cape Verde, I'm not entirely sure who it was from Cape Verde, had a simple tap in. Check it out. It's awful goalkeeping. As a goalkeeper myself, you've got to come out, you've got to close that angle, you've got to narrow the goal down, but he doesn't do that. Practically stands there, gives him the entire goal to shoot at. Pretty much a tap in the end of the day. And and this is our goalkeeper who thinks that he should be our number one. And my God, am I glad that he is moving on. Apparently he's a good guy, great guy to have around the dressing room, brilliant. But I just think he's Manchester United's weak link. He's a massive weak link. He's been moved on. I'm not saying that the bar is high in our goalkeeping situation. Bayinda has his issues. Lammens, apologies, not entirely sure how you say that. He will probably have his issue too, because he's young, he's fresh, he's raw, he's coming into the Premier League. And then there's Tom Heaton, who is coming to the end of his career, steady workhorse. I actually think he's a very good goalkeeper and probably could do a very good job for us, very solid. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get the chance he deserves. So that's where we are with Andre Onana. Get your thoughts in. Are you glad that he's gone? Do you think he's scapegoated? Do you think he's been kind of, dragged over the coals, but yeah, it's not his fault? For me, he's been weak. He's been poor. He's had poor performances time and time again. He's cost us a lot of goals. He cost us the Champions League. He cost us getting potentially knocked out of the League Cup the other night against Grimsby, where he just has bread biscuits for hands, where he cannot save a bloody penalty that gets his hands on 4 of them, can't keep any of them out. This is on him. There is another story coming out from the Athletic this morning that says that when his wages were reduced from 170k to 120k, he then went to the board and asked for more money to cover the cost of his fund, the Onana Fund project that helps house kids from his hometown. But we're not a charity, and he hasn't played well. So I think him asking for that, he should be looking at himself in the mirror going, should I be asking for this? I don't think so. Should my performance have been better? Yes. But we're moving on from him. That's where we are now. Thank God he's done. He can move on. I hope he goes on and does well, so we can get the opportunity to sell him on. But that's where he thinks he's been scapegoated. I think he's unfortunately caused this for himself. And this is what Ruben had to say. Ruben was unhappy with Onana when he tore his hamstring in the second day of preseason after playing on a muddy pitch for Cameroon. Amram was wary of Onana's omission becoming a distraction for Lammens as he settles in. He reached the decision to move him on. It was supported by Radcliffe. Now, we know that United Stand have been talking about Ruben Amram wanting to move Onana on from kind of March this year. So in terms of getting an opportunity to do this, unfortunately Onana, maybe he's come back, he's maybe not in the peak of his condition where he should be. He has put himself in a difficult position playing on pitches that maybe he shouldn't be, even if it is for a bit of fun. He's a supreme athlete. He's got to be looking after his body. He's got to be putting Manchester United first. Unfortunately, he made poor choices, and I think this kind of reflects on him once again. He's not doing all the things that's required from a top-end goalkeeper. And that's probably another reason why the club want to move him on, because he's made poor choices behind the scenes, and he's made poor choices while he's been between the sticks. And you can't keep making poor choices time and time again. Yes, you get, everyone deserves a second chance, but unfortunately he's had more chances than enough, and he hasn't been able to, do what he needs to do to get to where he needs to get to. And we as a club cannot be a charity just going, yes, fine, oh, you need this for this, you need X for Y. No, it's your responsibility to do your job properly, and with that then comes the rewards and the spoils. He hasn't done it properly, and that is what really frustrates me. Now, on some transfer news, there's a lot of talk that Manchester United are going to make a move in the January transfer window, and the club's position in August was clear. Either they get a midfielder they want, or they wait until the next window. The player they really want is Carlos Baleba. I'd love to know what you good people out there think. Do you think that Manchester United will get Carlos Baleba in their in the January transfer window? Primarily, we've been a team that have brought in loans. Sabitzer, Weghorst, etc. We've brought in loan players in the January transfer window. We very rarely bring in a high-end quality player. Bruno Fernandes, I believe, was potentially the last one. Yes, we did bring in Dorgu, but he's a work in progress. Baleba would have to be a massive step up, because he would cost in and around probably the £100 million mark. And I think if we do this, then it is showing that we are moving in a different direction. We have done well. We have reduced the bomb squad. I don't like that term, but Malacia, as I say, it looks like he's potentially going to go today to Turkey. And Baleba, if he does come in January, does this show to you? Do you think that we have started to turn a corner? Are we changing as a footballing sort of behemoth? Are we climbing back into that pantheon of clubs that actually make good business decisions that equal good footballing decisions, not spending money in the summer transfer window when we desperately need a midfielder, rather than 2 years ago when we needed a midfielder and we brought in Casemiro from Real Madrid and we got our pants pulled down on that one. We are now waiting, but I don't know if this team is good enough to carry us all the way through to May with the midfield that we have. So I think we do need to bring someone in, and if that is Baleba, great, and if it's not, then maybe it's an Adam Wharton, and if it's not either of those two, maybe it's Humland. And if it's not him, then I just hope they don't squander any more money. We can't afford it. It's very important that we get the players in that we need. Now, this is what Peter Schmeichel was saying about Lammens, because obviously there's a hot topic about whether he's going to start in the Manchester derby. And he's a very special kid. Looking what he did at Royal Antwerp, you could see why fans compare him to the likes of Neuer and Courtois. He is, all the skills to become a top goalkeeper in the Premier League, and I look forward to seeing him. He's a great talent. Now, that's coming from one of our legends, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that because Peter Schmeichel rates him, that doesn't mean he's going to be a good goalkeeper. We have got to sort of look at this in balance. And I think one of those things is, you never know how when Peter Schmeichel first came to Manchester United, he had mistakes in him. I remember him, in the early 90s. He wasn't the goalkeeper that he became. He was raw. He struggled with the physicality in the Premier League. And then once he found his feet, boy, oh boy, did he excel. He was an unbelievable goalkeeper and a leader, a shot stopper, somebody who could come for crosses. His distribution might not have been the best with his feet. Oh my God, with his hands and his long throws were absolutely phenomenal. We were on the attack within seconds. Free-flowing, fast-moving football under Sir Alex Ferguson. Unfortunately, those days of football are pretty much gone now. But, if he sees a little bit of that in Lammens, and we can get a little bit of what he thought, Courtois, etc. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But as I said, we've got to give this kid time. We've got to get with him. We've got to support him, because otherwise he's going to find it very, very difficult. And now there was another story that came out, and this is one Nicky Bott was talking about. I know Matthias Cunha has done really well over the last couple of seasons, but I really wanted an experienced striker. I hope we're not going down the same path with the same mistakes with Benjamin Sesko as they did with Rasmus Højlund. As a young player coming into the Premier League with no experience, it just feels like history repeating himself. Now, Nicky Butt makes a really good point here. I probably would have went for Ollie Watkins myself. I do, and kept Rasmus. I do believe that we need a experienced striker up there, because if Sesko doesn't do it, and Sesko's already getting criticised, there's other players in the Premier League that have come in, Wirtz, etc., who come in for massive price tags and haven't been at all criticised. And this poor lad's already been criticised, and he's barely started a game. But yeah, he's getting heavy criticism already. If he can't live with this, and there's no backup striker, there's no more experienced striker to come in and help him take over from the pressure, he's going to end up in the same place as Rasmus. And I think Nicky Butt makes a really good point here. But it's going to be interesting going forward, because I just feel that we are, it's a difficult one. What do you think? Do you think Sesko was a good buy? Do you think we should have kept Rasmus? Do you think we should have got Ollie Watkins? Get in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think we should have maybe went for more experience over Sesko, and maybe not went for Cunha, as Nicky was maybe kind of alluding to there, or have we made a mistake somewhere along the line, or maybe in Mbumo, whoever it is, one of those two, maybe we should have went for a midfielder and got Baleba in and try to work with Rasmus. He's already had the Premier League experience, he's already been battered with it, and maybe he could have improved and excelled this season, but the opportunity's gone, it's gone to Lapply, so that's how that one goes. And Manchester, and this is the very last one, just Statman Dave. Manchester United had more shots in the Premier League this season than any other side. It's the most Manchester United have had in the first 3 games of a Premier League season since 2017-2018. Very, very important in terms of we didn't have many shots before, and sometimes when we were taking shots, our strikers and our forwards were too greedy. Can we turn these shots into, more big chances / goals, and get that GA up for our forward players? Because that's what we really need to do, especially coming into the derby. Big game. City are off to a poor start. We're not off to a great start. One of us can capitalise on the other's weaknesses right now. City could win the game, and then that's them kind of back on track. The game could be drawn, and then it's, kind of much of a muchness. United could maybe nick the victory and hopefully then move up the table and dent City even further, which is always nice that they're doing that to the rivals, giving them a bit of the old elbow, because by God, we've had plenty of it recently. But anyway, that's interesting stats coming into the derby. Massive game at the weekend. Please God, for the love of God, please let us pick up a win. And guys, thank you very much for joining me. As I said, enjoying the content, give it the old thumbs up, please. Massively helps. Please tap the old subscribe button. And also, if you've got any interest in youth football, check out Total Football TV. I run a little channel for my kids' youth football team. Brilliant little football team, making great strides in the Manchester Youth Super League, one of the best leagues in the northwest of England. Playing, kids playing great football, both sides. So give us a shout. Tap into that link. I'll throw that link into the description. Head over there. 7-8 minute matches, all highlights, all cut, all with voiceover, and different angles for goals, etc. Thank you very much for joining me this morning, and I'll see you tomorrow.